This computer. Hello, my YouTubian brethren, my fellow YouTubian brethren, my friends. Really, you are my friends, my only friends. Now at this stage. But fuck it, everyone has nothing but digital friends anyway to begin with. My name is Jason, and this is a combination video. It's going to be a combination of pointless and useless, thoroughly accurate statistics and projections for me, all right, that I have to jot down for myself on video jotting, and some poetic. I got another great idea finally for a little decent sized book to get made up, like a real book. Like where I send it out, 48-hour books, to get 100 of them. Finally, I'm going to keep it a simple one, like a book like this. There's a paperback, just a paperback, about this size, give or take, and just have nothing like the Tao Te Ching, but just have like 100 of my writing pieces, select writing pieces for starters. And just so I can then have 100 of them before the spring. Like I swore to myself, it was going to be the journal ones, but I don't know, maybe. But I like this idea, and then I can get it done by the spring, and then I'll have at least 100 of them. If I can't sell them, or if I don't sell them all, or any of them, I guess I don't know what I could do. I could I'll build a doghouse with them. I can use them for. Make paper airplanes out of or something, fire, kindle. So, and that project starts tonight. I'm going to. I didn't figure out. It just came to me, the right frame of mind. When things are smooth, water's in there, and everything's going good, and I got everything the way I fight so hard to keep it, juggling all the fucking stresses of life, this, that, get that going, keep that going, keep the video, martial arts, the private lessons, and, life, family, kids, my own sanity, health, eating, staying positive, juggling all of that. But what happens if you can even just do it once and you keep at it? You start to pick up your own kind of battle rhythm, your own rhythm for your obstacle, or the algorithm for the obstacle. So and with more time, repetition is what? The mother of all skill. Thank you. You start knowing the falling velocity of its speeds of some of the items, and the different what's the fucking word, density of the different things, and you start to get good at it. So what I have found out, so why is the problem here? I can do all these things, I've done all these things, but why isn't everything not synergizing and gelling like I envision it in my mind? I mean, it is a little bit, but because the methods of the madness. In the very first journal I wrote in '93, I talked about all I want to do is get my black belt from that school in particular, and then open my own school and teach, and that's all my whole life I dove into that, 20 years old. And I did it. You know, I in the second journal, 95, 96. Hyper, man, all of a sudden. 95, 96, I got the black belt. I kept that journal, lived in the school that year. It was wild. And then what I wanted to, then it was like, okay, yeah, I want to, you know, get married and, you know, have a life and still have my own school and independent of my teacher this time, completely on my own. And I did that in 2099 to 2002 or 3 or something. And I did that, you know, so I do, it's one of my great things I take the most pleasure at, I think, in adult life has been, you know, I guess because I've, you know, I've always been so by myself, like I said, ever since that, I picked that mark at 13 when I came home one day from high school and, I gotta live across town at my grandfather's or my dad's because I was getting out of hand, but, you know, it's just, I don't want to get fucking into it, but like, I kind of, not kind of. I have that day as I got home after school and even know it, and like an hour or so after school, and everyone's still walking home to their other places. I'm walking across town to a new, you know, to start living over here. Now, yeah, I didn't make a little argument with my mom, but I kind of knew she was right, maybe. But and then it's just, you know, I've been 100% governing my ship ever since. So of course I make a lot of wrong decisions as I was younger. Trial and error, you know, and you have no one telling you, so you got to figure it out. And where this is getting to is back to my thing I was saying about one of the greatest pleasures that I started even young. I can, yeah, around, well, I always had a good fucking 100% resolve, but is to think of something, think up something, up some scenario or some kind of something that you want to do, goal or achieve, or just think of something that I wanted that, you know, was completely like have no strings to it at all, like nothing, is totally alien, and then make it happen. No matter how much time it takes or whatever, and the willpower and the discipline, whatever I got to do to get that objective, that's it. That's all that matters. I don't care about me. I don't care about my well-being, my safety. I don't care about any of it. Just, you know, getting that thing, you know, locking onto that. And I find I've had to find a peace of mind in that young. So like, back to the present. What was I saying that? Oh, about the juggling and repetition being the mother of all skill, and the book. So yeah, so to finish that whole thing, the long thing, sidetrack I went, is last year, I remember, I think it was in the spring, I started to go into some of the open mics again to read the spoken word poetry, and I was like, you know what? And I would go with my little notebooks. I had a few staple ones that I had made, you know, because it's so pissed, you know, and I got that bug in me, I guess, when I came up with the idea in 2001, 2002. In 2002, because I had the journal. For 2001, I kept it. It was the last full year journal. No, it's not. I did last year. I kept it. But I made. It was like around the springtime, end of summer, around this time, February-ish. I got the idea to type in my first journal, like this one, the one I did. I had the video Senkai. Senkai is my fighting name I got from my teacher. Green belt means respect. So that journal, this was the actual one I carried with me to the gas station, all over, everything that I did, you know, tattoo shop, all that. I came up with the idea, you know what, I'm gonna type them into the computer, decipher my horrific handwriting, print them up, staple it because I was just still fucking around with the old, I had a computer then. I wasn't even really knew nothing then, but I was able to figure out some things. I knew some stuff. And I would stay up, and this is while I was raising my daughter in her first year. She was born. I stay up in my school classes at 5 o'clock, usually 5, 6 o'clock, 4 nights a week, and Saturday during the day, Sunday. So I was home during, her first year. It was so great. I'm so glad, so thankful for that timing, the universe, God, because I got to, just raise her literally right from she came home from the hospital, and then that whole year and a half, 2 years, about 2 years, yeah. And then I went and would open the school. My ex-wife would come home around 3 or 4. We'd play tag, and that was the deal. So while I was doing all that, changing the diapers and everything, being Mr. Mom, having the school at night, in the meantime, during the day, whenever my daughter would take a nap or something else, or she's playing, I would go and I'd punch in my little book into. I made it out of a wedding invitation program, that first one, but it was quick, and I went and bought a heavy-duty stapler at Staples back then, and also I had just finished the 2001 journal. First, this computer's making me sick the way it's like freezing shit. And here is the reason what I said fucking 20 minutes ago, where I could have, again, well, this is my journal entry. I pointless, useless, senseless, silly facts and statistics for other people. But do I have a stat too to end this? So I printed them up and sold them for $5 each. And I swear to God, I won't make this shit up, lie and everything. But, once in a while, I swing 100 times a day. I do connect with some things. And it was a funny little story. I was able to sell as many as I could fucking make. It's like printing money. I mean, I don't even, I gave a lot away too in the beginning, so I wanted people to have them, read them. But they were just a great idea. It was even smaller than this, so people could bring them. With one student I had, she was a hairdresser, and like after the first day she had it, she comes home getting that funny look from her, like I see from a lot of people a lot of times, always, with stuff like this. And she's like, "You're crazy, you're funny," and she's like passing it around into the hair stuff thing. So too bad my ex-wife didn't give me one little tiny ounce bit of help with making those books and doing all that. Not one. I was so frustrated because it could have made so many, and whatever. And then I also did the copy of the 2001 year 9/11 journal. That's the journal. That's the one I still have. It is not up yet. I didn't read it yet. That's the year, the first year being a father, raising my daughter, opening my school at night, doing that, making that successful full time is all I did. It was my dream, everything, married, family. But the divorce, the marriage was troubled at best during that time. And I remember writing it. Then it was 9/11, and we ended up getting divorced 10 years after that. But there was a lot of good moments too. And it just fucking pissed me off, man, because, it's not a lot of money, but the idea, people are buying. Who cares what they think? It's true. It's my journal entry. The year I tested for my black belt too. It made other waves. I remember this started too. I remember I was not only teaching at the main school, my main one, the 10 Dragons on Ridge Road. I was also teaching a program for adults and kids, ninjutsu, up in Elizabeth, called a place called Rexplex. Huge, gigantic fun thing. They had like roller blades stuff there, hockey, soccer, indoor soccer fields. It was a friend of mine, a guy I was training with, Eddie, he had gotten this thing, and his concept was having like different martial art teachers and styles every day. There was like, he had a handful of instructors and good, all different styles, and the place was huge. It was like the size of a football field indoors, literally. It was beautiful, wall to wall wrestling mats, and I was teaching up there twice a week on top of my school, and then I had a couple of private lessons I was still doing, fucking around with back then, sprinkled throughout, and then and still doing the merchandise and all that, and trying to keep up the marriage, and trying to keep up all the schools and the work, and the running around in the shitty fucking tri-state area, and just how I had no money to start this up and stuff then too. I got it going from the ground, and just like I always do, you don't quit, you don't give up, because that's death. So this brings me back to the reading. We're at the beginning part, which, this hasn't even started yet, because this has been a little time out for me, because I'm trying to pace myself, control my energy. And I noticed I used to have this idea, but I didn't really fucking put it under the microscope and examine it. It starts from when I wake up. 9 times out of 10, I used to, just wake up, you get up real quick, and that's when nothing wrong, you're not being upset or anything, or not having any horrible nightmares or anything, or waking up in cold sweats, just regular getting up. I just get up real quick, and I used to, sometimes I'd be fucking lightheaded, like little stars, and fucking hold on, man, slow the fuck down, Jason. You want to do all this stuff, you say you can't afford to make any mistakes, or you got to keep them to a minimum, and you got to keep integrity right, and you got to, just do all this stuff. Slow down. But it's like that kind of crystallized to me over this weekend too. And then boom, that's the one thing about me. I'll say titanium skull. But usually it takes most people to learn once or twice. Takes me 10 times. But when I do learn something, I learn it, and it's just one time, and it doesn't happen again. That also goes back to, I remember my first tournament. Boy, he's really going off the rails. Well, I'm giving my legs a break now before I do some of the readings. But yeah, my first tournament, I was only training, I was 20, signed up on July 2nd, 1991. This was the Versace tournament. I believe it was August 30th, 1991. I was a white belt, only there 4 weeks, And he didn't lean on us at white belts to make us at white belts go into tournament, but you could tell he wanted us to, and I was all about, as non-confident as I was, and as fearful and everything as I was, even though I probably hit it. I was not gonna let him down. It was like the first positive role model I've ever had, male role model. Luckily, it was a good one, a great one. My first sensei, real close. So I didn't want to let him down at all, and so I all right, well, I know no one's expecting me to do good in this tournament, even while he was a fucking really, tournament king, and I literally thought the school was a trophy school when they first opened it. I didn't even know it was a martial arts school. So like a while, and then I ended up going by there and signing up. But anyway, so the first tournament, so I remember white belt, and I'm going, and I didn't think it was big. Yeah, I'm going to go. Oh, what are you going to go in, Jason? You either go in self-defense forms, weapons forms, regular forms, self-defense, or kumite, which is Japanese fighting. Kumite, so like proud of myself that I was doing this by myself. And I went to the tournament, and then I remember the day. I'll never forget that day. You know, mind you, I hadn't been into a fight with anyone at that point, probably since maybe, I don't know, a couple of years. As a like young teenager, but so this was like my first real like squaring up with another man, you know, and also another trained guy, because it was white belt. The white belt division was white belt, yellow belt, orange, white, yellow, orange belt. And I think he was a yellow belt, this guy. I don't know what fucking school he was from, but he was fucking huge. He was huge. He was like 6'4", 6'5", maybe. Just giant. And people are notorious. And even in the grappling tournaments, you know, I've been to a couple. Tournament. Humans are humans. Fucking ego heads. And so many of these people fucking sandbag, and they go in to enter classes below them, you know. In other words, you know, someone who's maybe a fucking brown belt and been training for 5 years will go in and go into like, you know, intermediate, you know, instead of advanced for underbelt. It's just fucking stupid fuckery, you know. Anyway, you know, so I didn't know if he was or not, but he was way bigger than me, 6'4", at least 6'4". I had to have been 220, 240, and I was, you know, my little 5'10" and a half, and at that point, my little scrawny body wasn't very. I mean, I was lifting, but I don't know. I might have been weighed about probably like maybe 160 pounds or something, 170. I was even when I had my longer hair, I had a little ponytail. This was all long. I have a picture of it somewhere in the white belt. Pinch it here and a little ponytail, and it was shaved on the sides. So I remember kids in the tournament, I heard them talking, saying they thought I looked like fucking movie, stupid karate movie, Best of the Best or something, I think it was. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So I remember though. So then when I got there, when we drove there, because I've never been to a karate tournament, you know, point fighting, anything, continuous contact, nothing. I've never been to one. You know, it was a month training. And then I'm resolved, and I'm entering. I got all my sparring gear, and you had to have a certain amount, or you know, in order to enter, which was, you know, headgear, feet, and hands. And luckily, you know, my school's fucking the real deal. Just strikers, and you know, as far as striking goes, and putting it together and making it work in real life. I mean, you know, whether sparring, tournament, or real life. But anyway, so there was like 70 fucking people in the. See, now I can't even get out of this because it's a waste of time. I have to finish this story. I didn't want to go here, but all right, yeah. So here I'm 20 years old. I was like at least 70, 75. I remember, and that's when I stopped kind of counting in my division. In my mind, I thought this was going to be so different, you know. I thought it was just going to be a handful of people, you know, as for competing, maybe, I don't know, 10 or 20, you know, maybe like a big day at the school. We would go to the other school, bigger school. I was used to that kind of little bit of pressure right from the start. He baptized us in fire. And so I was not worried, you know, about getting beat up physically. I was worried too, more of my pride was what started freaking me out, and I started really fucking causing havoc in my brain. And again, I'm there by myself. No one will know. I could easily not have, because my teacher was doing the black belts, and he was competing that. So I could have easily just ducked out of that, you know, and no one would have known. And I could have, you know, but I remember saying, fuck, man, I was so nervous, man. Because there was like 70, 75 people. I hadn't fought with an adult male or anything at this point. I'm only a month training. And there's more than the 70 in our area just sitting around, you know, just on the mats. And the Versace's tournament was so much bigger than I thought anyway. It was like a full high school gym thing, completely fucking filled. And it was just wild. So anyway, so I was so nervous, man. And at that time, I could just do kicks, you know. kicking in on the side, waiting on the thing. I was the only psycho. All the other guys were in there, and I went over and already, even back then, by myself. But I couldn't sit still, and I didn't want them to see I was nervous, and I was like walking, doing roundhouse, front kick, roundhouse, round kick, front kick, side kick, back fist, turn, and I would go back, and then they called everyone, where they tightened it up. I had to go over there. So of all the 70 people, right? First, I didn't know I was going to get. It was you would find out there. I ended up being at that big 70 thing. I was like the second or third fucking person that they picked. I could see everyone was nervous too. When it came down, everyone I'd see. And then when they randomly picked my guy, I don't know, maybe it wasn't random. Maybe they didn't like my school. He was, this big fucking guy. He gets up and fuck. And I remember though, this is what really interesting thing about it. So he had definitely looked like he was he was more than just a white belt. But it didn't matter. I could tell it. But as soon as they said go, I just responded, I just straight, I didn't even think. Something just came over me, and before I knew it, I was within his space, boom, and like I hit him like up here. Like I didn't even go for any kick. It was like a light speed. I was like, boom, right here. And I couldn't even hear them talk. I knew I saw the flag going, so I didn't stop. I didn't feel anything. I go back. I said again, boom, I did the same thing again. And then I see something, and then my disqualified career, I think, started, back then. And then I remember seeing the other thing for foul, like somebody, and I fouled the guy because instead I was hitting too hard. This guy's like 60 pounds on me anyway, but I don't know. And it was so close quarter. I didn't do anything like karate. I didn't know any by then. It was like just a month. But boom, and then did it again. Boom, and then like before I knew it, I was starting to really get into it, and boom, and then a rope stop over, and he saw I was a robot, the guy. So after a couple of times, he just leaned back and hit me, with his fucking giant long arms. I didn't feel it. Literally didn't feel it. I still question it. I didn't feel fucking a thing. And then I got a penalty because I just kept doing the same thing, and I stopped. I went through again, boom, and I hit him again. And I got a penalty for hitting too aggressive, and I hit after they said stop. I didn't even hear. I was totally zoned. I didn't hear nothing. And he was such a fucking wall, boom, I hit, and then he got me at the end, and I came with the same thing, like over and over and over again. Step forward, right punch. Step forward, right punch. Step forward, right punch. And boom, he hit me, and boom, it's over. The whole thing, I felt like it was so long, but fast at the same time. And I remember, God, what the fuck do I learn from this, Jason? What do I learn from this? I remember, and the one thing I learned was, like I said, and I've never lost that way again. In that particular technique, like staying right on the fucking line, doing the same thing, being so predictable, getting hit in the same spot. I've never lost, and then that's where I started building my little strategy of life on, okay, if something happens, fucked up, wrong, I make a mistake, whatever, it's okay. Learn from it. If I learn from it and put it into practice, it's usually it's very good because it makes you, elevates you in time. To not learn from it is just dumb. It's just intellectually lazy, and as well as it's intellectually lazy to not put it into practice in future life, and make it effort at remembering it or learning from it, whatever you have to do. So, and I remember the next tournament I went to a couple of months down the road, I lost again in the first round, but I did better. I got a couple of points, but I lost a different way, and I fucking made sure it never was again. So that's that. I can't believe that went 30 minutes. I really can't believe that went 30 minutes. But I did document some stuff, so let me get to. Oh, here's a cool stat. As of January, I taped it, so I'd show it. As of January 31st, 2019, I was 17,272 days old. I remember coming across there was a website, I think, somewhere. Yeah, and you just put your shit in and it calculated it for you. And then I'm so glad I wrote it. I can't take it anymore. I gotta start. Ah! Oh, I blew it up with 0. I'm so glad I wrote it down. I don't know if you can see it. The fucking lighting is so hard to do. Can you see it? Anyway, so I'm so glad I jotted that down. I forget where that was. So this was when I was living up that wasted year up in New York. But I did learn some things from it, and I want to repeat. Okay, he's up, he's moving now, and now he's reading things. Okay, a couple little things I'm going to throw at y'all, some literary. Men openly scream in rage, but they plot. They plot in secret. Be aware of the silence. You see the Beverly Hills fucking ninja right here? Just trip over his own chair. Almost. Hungry. I still got a shower. A great workout at the gym today, though. That always gives me a little bit of automatic self-worth. I have a little bit of self-worth because I had a successful gym experience. You know, I'm going to really have to do this reading separately. It says 30 minutes, and I don't trust the fucking computer at all. That's why I always have the charger fucking around everywhere, and I have it plugged in because the thing loves to tell me battery's critically low. Battery's critically low. I mean, like, I live in paranoia and constant fear of things going wrong around me, you know, so. But, you know, I'm starting to pick up. Like, it fucked me up a few times because I was ill prepared, didn't have the charger down here with me, and I was really deep into some thing of mine, and and I lost power and I lost my mind a little bit. That happened more. All right, keep it moving, boy. Yes, go. Sure. Absolutely. Oh, again, I don't know if any of you guys have watched that video of mine, Senkai. I live in the school of my beautiful, beloved first dog, Follow Black Dragon Wolf, or Rottweiler. I have 13 years. He lived with me down there. And this is an actual picture. So I had that Senkai journal that I sold. I had this picture I Xeroxed it. That's actually underneath the school. That ceiling right there. On the other side of that is the dojo floor. And in the back, where you see the wall, right in the bed, right on top where the ceiling ends and the wall ends, there's like this corner on here. That's the sidewalk for Harrison Ave. And straight up from here was the glass window. I would come up like back in here, but that's me and my ballroom in. That's like 4 or 5 months after I'd been there. I could tell the way I was dressed. I think it's like May. Oh, I missed that dog. All right. Oh, here I have it written down again. 17,272 days old as of January 31st, 2019. So what would it be now? 365. 365. And 30. 395. And then 399. 399. 399 to 17,272. 399. 9, 11. Carry a 1. 8, 9, 17. So 7. Carry a 1. 1. 3, 6. 6, 7, 1. 17,671. I just did that. I've never did that in my life with just my finger, and I imagined the numbers there. It was very simple math. I did the 19th to the 24th in my head, and that was like 399, I think. No. Oh yeah, with the 30 days, 350. All right, this is my favorite quote of my life I've ever had. Again, I have it blown up somewhere. I'm going to stick it around. Ah, there it is. The only life-giving answer is to divorce oneself from society, to exist without roots, to set out on that uncharted journey into the rebellious imperatives of the self. In short, whether the life is criminal or not, the decision is to encourage the psychopath in oneself. I didn't write it. She did. Norman Mailer from The White Negro, 1957. That's a fucking quote. I love quotes. And I'm speaking of quotes. I'm going to freaking have a earthquake attack. I had misplaced. I can't find a whole file of all my favorite quotes, a whole bunch of them. Some of them I wrote, came up with some I would see somewhere I'd cut out or I'd copy, like the whole collection of them for the past year or so, and from old, and also all my dreams, the dreams that I had wrote down over the years, because I had some wild dreams, and I wrote them down even in those journals, and so all these fucking dreams, I remember some of them were funny, really good, but I know there's a couple I don't. But just in case I never get to it, I'm going to I'll end with this one dream, and then I'm going to take a quick shower and stuff and pick this up again and do other announcements. Other announcement thing I'm going to be doing. Here's my Bowie knife, 10 angles of attack with slash and thrusting. I'm going to be doing, as on agenda for some later this week, I'm going to begin reading the Book of Five Rings by the great Miyamoto Musashi, the Sword Saint of Japan. You guys should know about him, who he is, what he did. He has survived in six battles. Back then, that's when they had hundreds of those guys. 6 battles and over 60 duels to the death with unarmed, not unarmed, one-on-one duel. I'll just let, because this is the actual, so many people, this is like translated like the art of war, when they do it business and all these, and you can apply it, but this is particularly to the martial artist book of Five Rings. I had this book when I was 21. This is just a new copy of it. So, but he says it, you know. I'll let Musashi give the intro for it. This book is for martialists. Here we go. And this is the actual. This is not this guy's words, someone else. This is Musashi's words from. What's the exact date? I think it's 1694, 1594. Real, true, so true. All right, well, you're not doing it now, Jason. I'm just going to read the paragraph. So what I want to do is when I get to this week, I'm going to, the Book of Five Rings is comprised of inside of it. And then what Musashi did, so after he was like 60 years old, he had, in his 60s, he had, you know, fought to the death, 60 duels, survived 6 battles of back then, you know, in feudal Japan. Or even before that, you know, in like 1594, I think he was born, 1600 anyway. And then after, and he did this by himself on his own, with no teacher. He had no one follow after, like to guide him or nothing, and he was like a perfect rogue. You know, he wandered to Japan and had these. Musashi killed, and he just gets all into strategy and everything. So when he was done with this and retired, I believe he was 60. He went up into the mountains and he lived by himself, you know, in the mountains for I don't know how long, but and he wrote this book based on his life experiences and everything, and his strategy, and you know, his self-realized how he was, and he was the sword saint of Japan. Okay, so he's fucking awesome. I read this book like 25 or 6 years ago. I remembered a lot of it, but not like I should, and I can't. So I'm so glad I found a new copy and reread it. But anyway, and when he was up there living in the cave doing the book, it's broken up into 5 parts: the book of earth, the book of water, the book of wind, or the book of fire, the book of wind, and the book of no thing, and all strategy. And it was great. It's just like little example. It's like perfect. Trying to find something small. No, I didn't even read the introduction. See, I gotta stop. I'm getting hyper. I'm getting sloppy. Right here. Let's see. I'll just read this one page, the introduction from Musashi himself. And leave it at, and then maybe, you know, you'll tune in, because when I do it, you know, I'm going to read it probably one book at a time. I'll do the Book of Earth, and I'll give each little thing, all the different things in it, and I'll give my opinion. Introduction. My name is Miyamoto Musashi. I have killed over 60 men in fights and duels. When I was 60 years of age, I looked back upon my life and in a flash of wisdom realized that all my victories were based on either great luck or innate ability, or perhaps the fact that the methods of other schools were inadequate. When I came to terms with my own skills and abilities, the realities of what I had accomplished held me to a higher principle that left me no choice but to depart from the commerce of the world, seek isolation, and tear my soul apart so that I could examine what I already seemed to know instinctively. I practiced and meditated constantly until I came to understand the workings of the spirit of the thing itself. I am considered to be the greatest swordsman Japan has ever had. It was during my fights and duels that I developed my own style of two-sword fighting. Although I was committed to my sword, I was also dedicated to learning painting, sculpture, and poetry. I instinctively felt it necessary to understand the arts and be accomplished in them. But my prime focus was on swordsmanship. I was not a particularly religious person, although I know of Buddhism, Shintoism, and Confucianism, and am aware of their tenets. What will be changed in my teachings with the passing of time cannot be known. There are, however, specific warrior attitudes that make good sense for the martialist. These warrior attitudes are succinct and definitive. Closer. This was too low. It may seem that I am repeating the same thing over and over. While it is true that I am doing this, it is only to enforce my teachings upon you. By constant repetition, you will soon come to understand the way of strategy. I will not leave it to you to try quickly to grasp my ideas in passing. The Book of Five Rings is divided into 5 sections called Earth, Water, Fire, Wind, and No Thingness. Earth lays the groundwork for the study of the whole book. Water explains attitudes of warriorness through an understanding of strategy. Fire teaches fighting with the principles of earth and water. The Book of the Wind describes the difference between my school styles and the styles of other schools. The Book of No Thingness describes the way of nature as the true mode of being. I have not followed the paths of other men. I love that. I have not followed the paths of other men. I have lived without the benefit of a teacher, and by my own devices. I became the master of myself, fucking A, and thereby master of the sword and the brush, never differentiating between any of these arts. It should be understood that without the assistance of a teacher, many roads become open to a practitioner. Indeed, some on the correct path and some on the incorrect path. It is not for everyone to be without guidance. Only a few, and they are exceptional, can make the journey to wisdom without a teacher. You must have extraordinary passion, patience, and self-discipline to make the journey alone. Fucking A. The goals must be understood, definitive, and no diversion can be acknowledged or permitted if you are to attain enlightenment within the sphere of a chosen art. This is a very difficult road to travel, and not many are made for it. It is frustrating, confusing, very lonely, certainly frightening, and it will sometimes make you think you do not have much sanity left to deal with everyday surroundings of the world. Oh man, so perfectly said. Also, there is no guarantee that you will attain perfection. It must all come from inside you, without any preconceived notions on your part. And so we begin. Not fucking something. I mean, I'm getting concepts from Musashi's mind in the 15th century, 2020, boom, in my head, boom, going to play out my life into this future, you know. It's the power of books, man. So it was good reading it. Now I noticed something too, doing that little sample read, the page I went through the whole introduction. But I noticed reading that out loud to the tape. Now I'm going to upload it. I'm not even going to fucking look at anything. I was just getting a different kind of understanding wrong. I skimmed through all that part. Yeah, I know. I'm going to get something I got to remember. And again, that's just like teaching, instructing something. You know, you show it over and over, you learn it more. And you know, it's because I have to make sure in my mind, you know, my vocals and stuff is you know, I'm coherent enough, you know, so you can. I don't want to do, you know, the Book of Five Rings wrong and not convey it right. So maybe that's why I was like getting more like breaking it, like kind of digesting reading rather than my usual highlighter. Next one, you know, that shit stopping, man, because that takes a lot of my energy that does not need to go there. You know, that's good energy. I can go to the gym. I can go to training, teaching. I've got particularly grueling day tomorrow, and that's not counting the private lessons. I have 2 tomorrow, but you see, that's like the highlight of my day. Oh, yeah. I'm forgetting something terrible. I know it, and as soon as I hit stop, I'm going to remember it. Oh, all right. This was since the air, and now I'm really like gung ho into be doing that book, but my legs are starting to hurt again. You know, I'm on them a lot, but I'm mindful of it this time. See, I could feel them hurting because I sat down maybe less than a half hour a day. It seems collectively, but I've never done free. Addressing of it, you know, I always wait till I fucking blow out or something blows or just fucking stops hurting. Preventative maintenance. All right, so I know I'm forgetting. To win any battle, you must fight as if you were already dead. Oh, I just remembered the thing. Right, fight as if you were. All right, yeah, I'm not going to do this now. These quotes. I'll say this for the next one. I'll read one Musashi. All right, maybe 2. But when and where life is more terrible than death, it is then the truest valor to dare to live. Musashi. Here's another great one. I love. There is nothing outside of yourself that can ever enable you to get better, stronger, richer, quicker, or smarter. Everything is within. Truth is not what you want it to be. It is what it is. Things as they are. You must bend to its power or live a lie. There is nothing impossible to him who will try. Alexander the Great. Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Willing is not enough. We must do. Bruce Lee. Determine that today you will overcome yourself of the day before. Tomorrow you will win over those of lesser skill, and later you will win over those of greater skill. This is, you know, reading writing stuff is very good for me. Here's a cool one. This is not from Musashi. It's from Shisai. From some named Shisai. A warrior must only take care that his spirit is never broken. Awesome. Shisai. All right, so I just remembered the thing I wanted to end with because I was talking. I can't find my dream folder. I had all the notebook ones and everything in there. From it better turn out. But I remember a couple because they were boom. My dream are freaky. Here's one, and they're kind of so bizarre and funny. This was a couple years ago too. It was definitely after 2010. In 2015. In the dream, I was walking down the street, Belgrove Drive, actually. I was walking down the street in a dream, and and I was holding my own head. and I remember I was walking down. Actually, I was on this side. I was holding my own head, and I was walking down the street, and my head and either the headless me or what, I couldn't see it. But this other bee was having an argument. They were having an argument with each other. It was, they were having an argument with each other, cursing and stuff. It was funny. And that always makes me think of another silly one, really weird one. I was, you know, I just have this free associative, like, dreams right here, and then it just goes to another one. And this one, boom, the first image comes on, boom, I'm sitting on the couch, or a couch, or some kind of furniture item thing. And I remember it felt like a Saturday morning, you know, that good Saturday morning kind of feeling, like, you know, just not getting up from work or anything, just that kind of relaxed feeling. I remember I was sitting on the couch, and I was sitting, there was a little tiny miniature lion, like this big, and he was talking to me. We were talking to each other. We were hanging out, watching the TV, and we were like we were good friends, you know. And he was, you know, he was using perfect, like, good English and everything, but he was still a perfectly, like, everything little lion. Any other ones? At least I can. Oh, I have it on the tape. I have some gruesome ones. I know that. Like it. Here's one I remember. I remember reading this one at UXT's. I was me, I guess. You know, just, I don't know what age I was, and I was kind of an adult, but I was riding a big wheel. I was riding a big wheel down Kearney Ave, and by myself, and people are all around, normal day and everything. And then I remember a group of kids, like my peers and stuff, you know, that my age group, whatever, I don't know, said, like, yelled out and laughed. Laughs are laughing. I remember hearing, like, girls laughing, guys laughing. And I remember and in the dream, and I'm riding the big wheel, and as soon as I heard them laughing at me, because I kind of knew that they were, I remember that feeling too, that all too familiar feeling from youth, the preeminent bad feeling, like, you pick up on it happens so much, you know, or everywhere, you know, and you don't feel safe at home. It's like, so as soon as I heard them laughing, I screamed in a dream. I went, ah! You know, I remember standing, like, going, ah! And then I got off the big wheel, and somehow I had, like, these big brick rocks were all over, and I threw the rocks at them. And then I remember I hit one of them I hit one of the kids, one of the laughing was a guy in the crowd. I hit him in the head with the rock, and he dropped, and they started yelling at me, and he's crying and, like, bleeding, and I went over, and I remember in the dream, I'm like, ha! I laughed. I was like, good for you. Ha! 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 I laughed at all of them, and I went back over to my big wheel, but it wasn't there. So I looked at everyone, and I just started, like, jogging, and then each one of my jogging steps was like the distance of going a full state. I like would go from state to state all the way, and I jogged all the way across to like California, LA, and it stopped there. But right, one more. Oh, I remember this one. This was a creepy one. I was going to in the dream. I was about to go into a marathon. It was like in the thing, you know, they have like gazillion people, layers of people behind the starting line. Everyone all over, like the super big marathon. I remember, like, all the things were there, And I'm like, fuck am I doing here? But I'm like, okay, I can do this, And I remember looking around, and then in the dream, all of a sudden, I don't know if they were like that or it took me a bit to recognize it, but then I noticed like every handful of people, like 5 or 6 people, like one of them was like an alien or some kind of fucking demon or some kind of monster or something, completely dressed out with regular clothes. Like no one around them seemed to notice, like fucking gargoyle fucking sticking out of a Nike thing. And I'm like, fuck, but they're all looking at me, these things, like they popped up for me or something. And then, so I go to hear, the gun go off for the race. Well, in my dream, I didn't have that. I had an M60 or something. I was like and everyone's like cheering and started running. And I was running. And then I remember paying attention to the weird things, and as they were like kind of closing in on me, like from all directions, like working their way towards me. And I remember I was doing good, but I couldn't get around the fuck. There's one in front of me, and they're coming in, and I'm like, and I remember like I said something like, "Fuck, come on!" So I want to, and then the thing turned around, and it was one of them. Like it was slowing me down on purpose, tricking. And then I was cool in my dream, proud of myself. When I saw it, before it even turns, I figured that's what we're doing. I reached up, I grabbed it like by the chin and the shoulder, and I ripped it back, like you turn someone's neck and they have to go, even if they're a fucking alien. And I flew it like that, the thing like a piece of garbage, and I remember I cursed it. Fuck. And then I went, and then I started running. And then I kind of turned into a giant. Like I was running, and then I turned. I got real fucking huge like this. I was like looking down on all the people. Like I was like way up, like the fucking clouds or something, like Twin Towers. And it was way up. And I stepped down, boom, and it was in a clear, open field, just sitting there. I think I had a Slurpee or something. It was sitting there with a Slurpee. Really bizarre. So that's why I wanted to keep them all. Wow, 102. Okay. So, into here, caps off my Monday. Fuck, I wanted to get it done and up before midnight turns. My name is Jason. Thank you for your time. I wonder why. It's hard. I can't even do it. I can't even say like, please subscribe. I can't do it. Even like that. It just seems weak on my part. Coming this week, or if not, in half an hour from now. But no, I better power down. Keeping a good schedule now. I'm going to be doing the Musashi book. So if any of you guys like that,